I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. On today's episode of Paid in Puke, we're talking about Janixa Bravo's 2021 action comedy Zola, starring Taylor Page and Riley Keough. This is Bravo's second feature. Her first feature was called Lemon, and she's done lots of television, directed a lot of TV. This film is based on a 2015 Twitter thread. Some call it the first meaningful Twitter thread. And maybe the first viral Twitter thread. And I think that Zola herself, in her Twitter bio, it says inventor of the Twitter thread.
Right.
It's a 148 tweet thread.
Oh, wow.
It starts with, y'all want to hear a story about why me and this bitch here fell out. It's kind of long, but full of suspense.
Hey, last month I went dancing at this cute spot in Florida where my roommate's girl made like 5 G's a night. Because of my
We just met yesterday and you're already trying to take hoe trips together?
Be ready by 2.
You want to hear a story about how me and this bitch fell out? It's kind of long, but it's full of suspense.
You want to go somewhere with me?
That's my face, shut it so bad.
Dear Heavenly Father,
Niggas.
we are asking you a special prayer today. We asking you to send us niggas.
Shut it so bad. Oh, this nigga.
Send us niggas with culture.
That's my.
Send us niggas with good credit.
What brings y'all here?
We making shmoney.
Money, titties.
From here on out, watch every move this bitch make.
This bitch with a nappy ass hair was up in my face.
Word.
Y'all want to trap?
Okay, wait, hold up.
Do not trip.
I got you, girls. A real nice spot.
This is messy. You are messy. Your brain is broke.
Is this what you came here for, Zola?
Do it look like I came for this?
Look at all this money you made. I'm so proud of you.
I don't fuck with you. No more.
I didn't do nothing wrong.
That's my face, shut it so bad.
I came to dance.
No, we're done with that.
Why you on my Twitter? Why you on my Facebook? Why you on my Tumblr?
Why you DMing me? Sis, why you tagging me in photos? You don't even fuck with me.
Sis.
Let me know.
Sis.
Let me know.
Yes,
Let me-
sis.
The most amazing thing about this that I read today was that the thread went viral while she was still writing it.
Oh, nice.
Like, she was writing it, and then suddenly, like, she couldn't reload her Twitter, and she had a million mentions, and she
Oh my
realized
God.
that different
Wow.
tweets were being retweeted, and it was already going viral. She said by the end of the day, by the time she finished it, she was, like, ahead of ISIS on the trending topics. She got overwhelmed by all the mentions, and she actually deleted the thread, because, like,
Oh,
she
no.
couldn't handle it anymore.
Just
but she
mute
said-
it. Gosh.
I know. She was new to it, I guess.
Right.
So by then, it had been screen capped and tweeted so much that it's
Yeah.
still out there. At least I guess she's not being tagged anymore. But, you know, now she's got it all sorted out. Pretty incredible situation. Like, the string of events is pretty interesting.
Right.
It wasn't long after that Hollywood tried to... There was a bidding war over the rights. They were going to adapt it. And it was unprecedented because it's a Twitter thread. Like, that never happened before. So it was kind of shitty for a while, what was happening. Like, it wasn't really until it was made into an article by this Rolling Stone guy that people were like, oh, we know what to do with that. We'll option an article. That's happened before.
Yeah.
But then she wasn't getting the credit anymore for the story.
Oh, well, that's bullshit.
For a while, James Franco was attached, and he was going to direct, and he had hired 2 white men to write the script.
Good job, James.
And she said she met James Franco and was like a little smitten by him or whatever. Then like a while later he backed out, telling her he was too busy, and then a month after that, his sex scandal broke.
I mean, it was good that he backed out then, you know. Like,
totally, but I mean, I think that's why he
probably
was like,
He's
I'm
probably
busy.
should not be in this one.
Yeah. The good thing that came out of that was that allowed Bravo to make her pitch, because she had been outbid before, because she only had that one movie, and, you know, she wasn't James Franco. She was then able to, like, pitch to Zola the way she wanted to portray it, and that's what we got today, which is great. Like, that way Zola was able to get writing credit that she deserves, and she was able to, like, talk to Bravo and fill in some of the blanks. Like, a lot of the stuff in the movie is pretty true, even though it's not in the Twitter thread. There are, of course, some embellishments, but we can get into those in a little bit. Anywho, now I should let y'all talk. What did y'all think of this movie?
I loved this. I was so instantly hooked on this. I didn't read the Twitter thread, or I didn't read almost anything about it beforehand. Like, I knew basically all the stuff you just said. I knew the first tweet, and that's about it. Some very spoiler averse in general. But in modern movies, I think a challenge is how to portray like texting and Twitter and social media in a movie, because it's not interesting to really watch someone on a phone, you know. Yeah. And, you know, different movies handle that differently. And I really liked how they did that with the little tweet sound effect, and that there wasn't a bunch of reading text on a screen, you know, which is fine. Some movies do it that way, but I really liked how they did that. It was just sort of like dialogue that was from their phone, basically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sounds. Like, I don't have proof of this, but I'd have to go back in and pay attention. But I wonder if anytime you heard that tweet sound, if that was like a direct line from the thread.
That's what it seemed like to me, but I obviously don't know.
But yeah, that kind of made it more of a Twitter vibe than a constant reminder that you were watching a Twitter thread unfold, basically. An interesting thing that Bravo did was she hired a playwright, Jeremy O'Harris, and so I think that was a really smart decision, because that's the person that knows how to show, don't tell more than anything.
It was very meaty. It's very entertaining, but at the same time you're watching somebody who's being like essentially, you know, in a sex trafficking situation. You're kind of like on this ride where you don't know what's gonna happen next. I mean, Zola is like a total survivor. She had to be to get through that whole crazy trip. Jeremy O'Harris, the playwright, he wrote a play, Slave Play. I mean, I've never seen it. I was reading about it and it sounds really interesting. Like, it's about race and relationships and
Is it modern?
It's modern. I don't know if it's traveled, but it was like on Broadway. It was a big deal, and Jake Gyllenhaal was in it. The girl, what's her name? Is it Stephanie?
It's Stephanie in the movie.
Yeah.
In real life, her name was Jessica, which is hilarious.
She's like a victimizer. She knows what she's doing. She's trapping Zola. There are these moments you see like how differently, like the bathroom scene. I was reading about that. Stop at a gas station, and the director said like she wanted something showing like bathroom habits.
Oh yeah, the toilet. Okay, I remember. Now, at first I was like, which bathroom scene? Because there's a lot of bathrooms. Yeah, when they're going to the bathroom.
When they're side by side in the public restroom,
like,
right?
The director, she said like when she was in college, she had white friends and girls going to the bathroom together. She's like, it was so different. They would just sit directly on the toilet, and like she was taught never to
squat.
Oh. I did notice that Zola was hovering.
And I don't know, it was just something that it was in an article I read. Like, it's just a different way of existing in the world or something. Like,
interesting.
Well, what that told me when I was watching it was Stephanie's a girl that trusts too much. Because then also they show the urine. And Jessica has like telltale UTI pee.
Yeah, it's way darker. I did notice that. Yeah.
She didn't use toilet paper either.
I noticed all of that, yeah.
But she handed Zola some toilet paper.
Right.
Exactly, yeah. And then there are these other moments, like she's going to Florida and you see the huge cross that they...
And the Confederate flag.
And the Confederate flag. There's a moment in the hotel where the guy asks, oh, you guys want to trap? But it's not really asking if they want to.
It's a rhetorical question.
Right, and not if they want to or not. But Stephanie's acting like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I mean, like, she's in on it,
you know? Right.
It's performative, and then once she gets to the hotel, it's like she she makes Zola kind of be her, like a servant almost. She has to greet all these guys, and I don't know.
She's become like the manager /
Right.
middleman.
Right, yeah.
And she definitely appeals to Zola's sympathies as well. I mean, how much of that do you think was performative when they're alone together in the nice hotel and Stephanie's like, oh, I don't really want to be doing this, but
Right.
I have a daughter.
I know, I was wondering if she even actually had a child.
Well, yeah.
I thought that was going to be a thing.
Zola's like, you do you, I'm gonna get out of here.
Yeah.
But like she quickly realizes Z is outside and like there's no escaping, and Stephanie's like starts crying, and then like Zola feels very sympathetic to her, but as it goes on they go to like another house and she's like, who are you doing this for? Oh yeah, your baby, or my baby, trying to make it sound like she's a victim, but she's in on it. Like she like throws the guns out so easily at the end.
I mean, I definitely believe that she is a victim in some respects, which is like, I mean, it's the whole Stockholm Syndrome thing, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
in a way, not that she like really wants to champion this guy's cause of selling her, but that she's scared to not.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah, she's so in control of her boyfriend, but like, or you know, like that thing, like whose is this and this.
I know that whole thing is so interesting in the movie with the heart. Yeah, she's like, whose is this, pointing to her heart, and he's like, mine. And then at the end of the movie, then the pimp does that to her.
Yeah,
I know.
So she's been taught these manipulation techniques from him.
I mean, she's the victim too.
Right. I mean, she doesn't even really question it when he doesn't give her any money.
Yeah.
Like, well, I spend money on you. It's like, great. I don't see how this is for her baby at that point.
Yeah. I mean, who knows what happened behind the scenes too? What kind of threats he made to her.
I don't know that Zola really feels that sympathetic so much. It's maybe like a little bit obligated. And then also, what can Zola really do? You know, like she is also just kind of stuck in this situation, temporarily at least, you know.
Yeah.
Like literally trapped in that room because there's a dangerous man on the other side.
Right.
And so you might as well try to help a lady out while you're in there, I guess.
Right.
And then I do like that she turns it into an entrepreneurial situation where she's like, what, you're charging how much?
Right.
I did write down the quote. We'll do that, but it was just like, when she's like, you're really underselling your pussy.
Yeah,
like,
pussy is worth thousands.
Yeah. I really like that line too, because it should be made. I'm like, we're going to monetize that.
Right. It should be high.
It should be high.
I like the moments, like in the beginning, how it starts out where there's kind of in this mirrored room with lights and doing their makeup. It's almost like what the trip should have been,
right?
You know, and I like that they had these moments of Zola doing all of the very artistic stuff on the
pole dancing,
all of the outfits, and clearly she loves doing this and she wants to make some money doing this,
and she's good at it.
Yeah,
I mean, really good at it. And I love the way they shot the strip club, because a lot of times in movies, strip clubs are shot as these dingy, disgusting places,
right?
And there are dingy, disgusting strip clubs, but there's also like really cool ones that are actually look pretty magical when you go in there.
Right.
And there are all these women, like especially Portland, I'm thinking of, that are just amazing athletes on the pole.
Yeah.
And it's like a show. I mean,
it's really hypnotic when someone's amazing on a pole like that.
Yes. And then it's like her talent is wasted because after she does this amazing pole number, this like disgusting guy tells her she looks like Whoopi Goldberg.
Right.
And throws money at her. And it's, you do not deserve to look at her glorious ass.
Right. and also, like, she's so good at the pole dancing, and you see her, and then you see Stephanie just like putting her butt cheeks against the pole. Yeah. It's a club that is not an upscale. People aren't dropping a lot of money. The money is not that she was promised is not happening.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely a lot of like unspoken but well illustrated. I hesitate to call it white privilege because obviously Stephanie's in a pretty terrible position, but there definitely is privilege in sex work too, in terms of like what people are after. I mean, in the hotel room, she's like not even on the menu, and this guy shows up and is like, I wanted a white chick. And she's like, she's over there. Don't even fucking talking to me. And that's the kind of thing that it's not completely spelled out. It's the subtext. And then, well, like how you're saying the Confederate flag and the cross, and that's the kind of thing that someone like Stephanie would not think twice about.
Right.
But Zola sees these things out the window, and it's like, oh, I'm in a horror movie now.
Right. And there's also a moment where their car is passing a black man being like brutalized and tased by the cops. There's all these things from the real world, you know, like interspersed within the movie. You know, like she's falling in like friend love or whatever in the beginning with Stephanie.
I feel like we met.
When?
I don't know. You dance?
Sometimes.
I dance.
Okay, bitch, me too.
Cute.
I'm not supposed to be back here.
What you doing tonight?
Nothing.
You want to go somewhere with me?
As it goes on, she talks about another black woman who works at the strip club or whatever, and the way she was telling this story.
I was like, look, booger bitch. Just get your ghetto ass up on my face. It's not my fault you nasty. It's not my fault I make more money than you.
Clean your butt.
It's not my fault you nasty. It's not my fault I make more money than you.
Clean your butt.
I'm done.
Turn that shit the fuck up.
Word.
Being super racist.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And it's like,
Her
and
face when she's telling that story is like,
the boyfriend, he really thinks he's hilarious, and he's making all these
Oh
like
God.
funny videos
right.
or whatever. But yeah, I've seen all of these. I haven't seen anything funny yet.
Yeah, he's like, I need to figure out a way to make videos as good as this. And she's
Right.
like, what the fuck are you
it's
talking
like a
about?
vine, right?
Yeah.
Like 6 seconds.
6 seconds of nothing. I don't even remember what it was. Just like some dumb guy doing
It was like
something
someone
stupid.
falling or something like that. You know?
Could you monetize Vine? I can't remember.
I mean, I guess they couldn't very well, and that's why it's gone, you know?
Yeah.
I don't
Right, that's a good point. Oh, you mentioned the mirrors. I noticed that the movie is just absolutely filled with mirrors. Mirrors everywhere. I think about that from a filmmaking perspective often when I see even one mirror in a movie because of how hard it is to shoot a mirror meaningfully without getting any of the equipment in the shot.
Right.
Or any of the crew. Let alone filling your movie with mirrors and just having to be on the ball about that the whole time. And it looks so great when you can pull it off. And I can see how it's so important to the storytelling, too, because, like, strip clubs are filled with mirrors, and dressing rooms, and obviously, like, the symbolic mirrors and reflection, and not seeing your own reflection clearly, and not seeing people clearly. I love the montage that's kind of like a slideshow of all the Johns in that one scene.
Yeah, gosh, yeah.
And then eventually it's like they're
dong.
just, it's like the opposite of the male gaze, right? This is what women are seeing when these disgusting guys are on them.
Yeah.
Like their gross cum faces and their shriveled up dongs.
Right.
I think that's just so wonderfully done.
In the story, I guess it was at least 20 Johns
Oh,
that
God.
night. So, like,
Wow.
it was a great way to show just how many Johns there were. That must have been, like, all night.
I know.
How-
I mean, I guess they probably aren't taking all that long, but you know,
Right.
still, there's got to be like some reset time in between. In fact, a BTS thing I heard was that Zola said that in real life, Jessica brought like a Costco-sized pack of douches, basically, and was
geez.
douching in between each John,
Wow.
which is bad for you.
Right.
Don't douche ever, ladies.
Yeah, just
You need all that stuff up there.
Right.
I mean, clean yourself out, but water only. That's my PSA. What did y'all think of the storytelling technique of saying things like, it'll be 24 hours before I hear this bitch talk, or it'll be 24
Right.
hours before I hear this, what
Right,
this
before I
guy's
know
name
his
is, that
name.
kind of stuff.
I didn't really have any feeling about that. Like, I feel like that was only a couple times they did that, you know?
Yeah. Well, then, I mean, there was like that flash forward kind of storytelling thing where it starts with them in the mirror and that's them getting ready before
right.
the final encounter.
Right.
I usually feel like that stuff is unnecessary.
Oh, I usually like stuff like that. I mean, I feel like that's where we differ a little bit, like with meta fourth wall stuff, which it's sort of in that
It is.
category. I don't know. I usually like stuff like that.
I liked it because it gave me a sense of like, oh, don't try to figure this out now. It reinforced to me that like she's just trying to survive the whole time and trying to like view it like as her experience was. There are all these people picking you up, driving you around places, and like
They have your life.
don't
in
ask
their
me, I don't know
hands.
who these
Yeah.
people are.
Right.
You know?
I feel like my favorite example of that in the movie was at the point when they're in the strip club and Stephanie starts taking selfies together and she said, from this point on, keep your eye on everything she does. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like that moment. I thought that was a good. use of that.
Yeah.
You don't like the 24-hour, 48-hour
I just thought it was
thing?
unnecessary.
Right, yeah.
Because, like, that's the kind of thing we're gonna see anyway. Because then, like, when she does finally hear the pimp's name, she's like, oh, that's his name.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have just had that. Oh, that's his name. Then we would have realized all the while she didn't know his name. I think that would have been more effective than waiting for that moment when she does learn his name. I don't know. I feel like that kind of stuff is a little distracting. But at the same time, I totally understand that playwrights like to put those sorts of things in.
Right. That's funny because a lot of times I don't like narration in general. Like, and I think a lot of narration is unnecessary. So I think I like narration more when it's done just like a little differently. Election is one of my favorite ways they use narration. So often I think narration, like, you're just telling me what I'm seeing in front of me on screen, you know. So if it like enhances it in some way, then I like it. Yeah.
I agree with that. So maybe we don't always agree on whether or not it enhances something, but I completely agree that that is the criteria for making it necessary.
And it felt like the style of how it was filmed, and think like a lot of things were very like internet-y, like seeming almost like the Hannah Montana song, and when they pick her up and stuff.
Hannah Montana, 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 Hannah Montana. I got Molly, I got white, I got Molly, I got white. I've been trapping all damn night. Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana, Hannah Montana.
Where they show the day and the time on the screen, it's like just like the iPhone looks.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that a lot. That's the way we tell the time now.
Yeah, that's how I tell the time.
People have stopwatches.
Right.
But mostly people are checking their time on their phone. Like, that's how we're used to seeing the date and time now. And I like the musical interlude in the car. I especially liked it because it's kind of more of the spell that she was under. It's just like, oh, it's a fun road trip. It's still a fun road trip. We're all enjoying this sing-along and shooting a vine or whatever we're doing in here.
With all that, I want to go back a little bit to the 48-hour thing, because I feel like now that I think of it, it's her letting you know that, like, it's going to be 48 hours before I know his name. It just adds something sort of unsettling to all their interactions leading up to that. She literally doesn't even know who this person is at all, you know?
So it'd be hard for her to tell someone and get help.
I mean, even just that feeling of just discomfort, you know, that this is not like, oh, the four of them are just like hanging out, partying together. It's like, this guy hasn't even told me his name, so that you are aware of that.
Yeah, and it's like you're getting wrapped up in this party or whatever, supposedly party, but something is really not right under the surface. And in the very beginning, like when Zola's talking to her other waitress friend at the diner, like her friend is telling some story, and it's like, there just wasn't a good energy.
I didn't like that place. It was just something about it. It had the wrong airflow. I didn't tell you? It's like the energy was off.
It was like kind of like a foretelling, like this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like, pay attention to the energy.
Yeah, right. Like there was
mind the vibes.
There was like this other. I love the part where Zola first meets Stephanie, and like they're instantly like,
same bitch that won't dance for money be the same bitch that be out on the block.
Same bitch that wanna smile in your face be the same bitch that gonna come for you later.
Period.
Oh God.
Oh God. Like, why you on my Twitter? Why you on my Facebook? Why you on my Tumblr?
Why you DMing me? Sis, why you tagging me in photos you don't even fuck with me?
Sis.
Let me know.
Sis.
Let me know.
Yes, sis.
she's just like wrapped up in this new friend she's made, and there's this funny like conversation. Why are you on my Twitter? Why are, you know, they're talking about these other women, and like, why are you tagging me? I don't know you. Why are you doing this? And then like that's exactly what Stephanie does to her.
Right.
Taking pictures of her and then putting her on a Backpage ad.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's done this to other supposedly friends of hers, like, she's quite a grifter in a way, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's never clear how much agency she has in that grift, but definitely everything she does is shady as shit.
Yeah, that's true.
It is kind of like she's the middle level of like the multi-level marketing guy, you know? Like,
she's not making any money.
Right, but she's bringing other people in, like,
with the promise of money, but then nobody's getting paid except the guy at the top.
Person at the top.
I wonder if she just feels like she's taken care of by this Z guy.
Literally says, like, he takes care of me, which Zola says, oh, that's code for pimp. But it's already too late.
It's definitely like she's being victimized too, but she's also victimizing Zola and like these other
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
oh my god,
just
you're so right with the what is it, the MLN?
Yeah, it's just
it's a trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. One little funny thing that's based on real life was the Reddit interlude.
Oh my god.
where
I think that was my
Stephanie tells
favorite
her
part
side
of
the story.
That was so funny to me.
I did read
thought it
her
was really
Reddit thread today. It's pretty similar. I mean, I really love the way they illustrated it.
Yeah.
She only got $1.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She walks out of the house wearing a trash bag and carrying trash bag luggage.
And later she's just like in like underwear and a shower cap.
Yeah, and she's like, I was with my community leader at Hooters when we met this lady, and I was like, I fuck with Jesus.
Right.
I wrote down, she pops up a Backpage ad. I was like, what is that?
That was so funny.
Riley Keough is pretty perfect for this role.
She's so good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Another internet-y thing was when they're in that room at the end with the rival pimp, and nobody says that happened, basically. That's all just artistic license.
The guy never got shot.
It seems like that the guy didn't get shot, really. And Zola was never in that room. She ran away. Like, Stephanie did get kidnapped, but the whole thing in the room with the pimp being like, I'm going to sell you, and you have to let him do stuff to you, and so we can do this ruse. That didn't happen. But I do like the way it's portrayed. While that's happening to her, she kind of like zones out, and it goes to like a screensaver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, we're so entrenched in our phones and computers and digital stuff that like we don't even have our own internal monologue anymore that's detached from that. It's like our own brains are going to screensaver mode now.
Right. And
I just thought that was so clever.
Yeah, and I kind of took it as like, she's been through such a stressful, like maybe it's like a, not dissociating, but like escaping in her mind, because like the voices like kind of...
I mean, I think disassociating is a perfect word for that. Yeah, absolutely. Because she's like, I don't know what to do right now. My life is in danger.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think to do is just go blank, but then blank is like screensaver.
Right, yeah. It totally was like screensaver.
Yeah. I thought that was really clever, and I liked it a lot.
Just shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh shit, yeah.
Do y'all have any hot probs?
Not really. I mean, I just felt like at the end I wanted and needed more. Like, I feel like it ended a little bit abruptly, and I just wanted it to keep going. Like, that's my hottest problem. I just wanted more of this.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to know what would happen next. I mean, it sounded like he was going to get them flight, so hopefully that happened and she didn't have to go through much more. Like, there was a moment where she gets calls. Like, her boyfriend is texting her, and, like, he obviously really cares about her, and how are you? And she's just like, oh, I'm tired. IDK, LOL. But it's really like, there's some terrible shit happening to her right now. And then she's on her way to, like, that house where there's the gangbang guys, and her mom calls her, and she's like, I'm in the middle of something. Can I call you? And it's just kind of like, why can't she tell them? Like, or could they have done anything to help her?
I mean, I totally get that feeling of helplessness, because it's like, who are you going to call? The police?
Right, exactly. But I mean, maybe
there's no one to help you.
Maybe she just felt like, there's no point. I just have to
get
through this.
Yeah. One thing that Zola in real life says is that scene, the gangbang scene, she said everything was like portrayed, she thought it was accurate enough, but then the gangbang scene was not scary enough, she said. It was much scarier in real life.
Wow.
In that scene.
That was a pretty scary situation.
It sounded so sketchy. She said the whole place smelled like cat piss.
Ugh.
And then everyone pretended like they didn't speak English, even though they'd just been speaking on the phone. Ugh, so scary.
I thought it was interesting. In that house, there's so much like religious iconography and stuff, and like just the juxtaposition with like what's happening at this moment, in the house.
Religious iconography to me is a warning sign.
Yeah, I totally feel that way too.
My hot problem is that they still credited the Rolling Stone article.
Yeah,
they gave her credit, but they still mentioned it, and I feel like that must have been producers or somebody.
Yeah. Maybe they were
saying they had to do that, because I know that was like Bravo in particular really wanted to make sure that Zola got full writing credit. And then Zola herself says that still bothered her. When she screened the movie, she was really happy with it, but then she still saw the guy's name.
Yeah.
And was like, God damn it. Why is a white man still getting credit for my story when all he did was interview me?
Right.
Which is totally fair. So my hot problem, I guess, is just My biggest hot prop is just that was still there, and it sucks that Bravo couldn't remove that entirely.
I'm sure that's just some like legal liability or something, like so that he can't sue them or
maybe.
I don't know.
Or like the rights or something, or he wrote the Rolling Stone article,
yes,
right?
That's right.
Yeah, I don't know how that stuff works, but yeah.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, he wanted a cut of it.
I don't think he necessarily did. I think it's like they just can't let it go without giving a white man credit for the story somehow. I don't know. Yeah. I'm sure it was a white man's idea to have that in there. And then my other hot prop is just that I don't think that the hotel room embellishment was necessary, even though I like the way it was shot. And if it were just a fictional narrative, I would have thought it was fine. But because this is a true story, you know, for the most part, it's traumatic enough. Like, do we really need to add extra trauma to this?
Right.
What part are you talking about?
At the end, rival.
Oh, I see.
The rival
thing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that just to tell the way it happened would have been traumatic enough. In real life, her boyfriend took her up to the room and then came running back down and was like, they snatched her. And then they went and got the pimp. And Zola stayed outside the whole time and like came out carrying Jessica/Stephanie. Said he shot the guy in the face, but there was never like a murder reported. But even that would be like scary enough. Just that whole thing.
Yeah.
Just telling it exactly like that and having her not know what happened in there and not adding to her her trauma, you know, when it's already so fucking traumatic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little hot prop. I mostly just think this movie is awesome.
It was really great.
Yeah.
Next call.
I watched like the New York Times Anatomy of a Scene that
I didn't see it.
The scene that she's talking about is dissecting is the pool scene where it's like the one time where, and she explains it in the breakdown, but Z, he blocks her son, and it's like this one time where she's getting a moment of relief for herself, and then like he comes to remind her like she's not, you know,
she's not free,
right? And he's like, when I get up, you get up, when I walk, you walk. And
oh my god, that scene, there's so much there too, because then that guy, the waiter, comes up and is like, do you need help?
She don't need any help.
Miss, she doesn't need any help.
I'm good.
Then obviously the Z answers for her and is like, she's fine. And then the guy's like, okay. Clearly this woman is not fine because she didn't even answer me.
Well, I feel like he tried a little bit though. Like he's like,
he tried a little bit.
He's
but
like,
I feel like that.
No, I'm asking you know.
Yeah, but that's just so telling that eventually he gives up and walks away. Like, how much does that happen in real life when a woman really needs help and doesn't get it because the person who's asking if they need help isn't really that, like, they want the answer to be yes, so that then they can feel okay about asking, but not having to intervene in any way.
Mm-hmm.
And on the one hand, like, I mean, I don't really begrudge the guy, like, not wanting to be a hero in that moment and be like, let's go, but, you know, fucking tell somebody or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't just keep that to yourself and assume that this woman is fine.
Yeah, I know. It just made me think of, like, human trafficking in this country is supposedly pretty prevalent.
I mean, it for sure happens. Even if it's not prevalent, it's like, it happens.
Yeah,
so
and
look
it's like,
for signs.
how do you know when... It's just another thing to add to the calculus when you see something really not right. Like, oh, maybe this person is in trouble. You know? What do you do?
I don't know if men know this, but in women's restrooms in bars, often you'll see signs in the bathroom stalls that say, like, if you're in trouble, come to the bartender and say a code word or something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I just wonder if, like, any man knows about that. Like, I always see it when I'm peeing, and then I don't really think about it because I'm not being human trafficked, and then...
I read something, it was a teenage girl made a website that, like, it looks to somebody that can see your screen that you're shopping online, but it's really calling for help.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, wow, that is such a good idea.
Right.
Because...
It happens. And even if it's not, like, literal human trafficking, sometimes you just need help because a creepy guy
There's
will leave
lots
you
of
alone.
ways that you could use some help sometimes.
Yeah. I guess, like, that's maybe my favorite thing about the whole movie in general and the story, really, is that, like, anybody could get caught up in this. She wasn't involved in this shit at all before. You know, she was just doing her own thing, stripping, and it just took, like, one wrong move, really, like, trusting one wrong person to get into this mess. Unfortunately, it didn't lead to, like, a lifetime of tragedy, but it still sucked for a little while, and it was scary, and she didn't know if she was going to get out of it for a while. I thought that was really well illustrated, that it could happen to anybody. Well, any woman, obviously, not anybody, but
After Zola's experience, there was another pair of girls that I guess they had car trouble, and she had reached out to Stephanie. They were stranded, and then Stephanie picked them up, and the cycle continued, and like they were put into a position where they were supposed to have sex with men.
Because she really did have a track record of trapping her friends. Huh?
Right. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And her friends just thought they were going to help her with her car. And
yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
It is. It's the MLM again. Like,
right.
You're in trouble, I'll help you. But
yeah, it's so predatory, right?
Oh my God, wow. If that doesn't make MLM seem even more predatory, I don't know what it fucking does. I do want to quickly plug the article I'd read that was the best article of this whole thing. It was a Vulture article written by a woman named Allison P. Davis, where she interviews Zola herself, and she really tells the whole story. So don't read that Rolling Stone article. Read this one if you really want to hear like a lot of good extra details and the real story.
Nice.
Davis spent time with Zola and her family, and they went out clubbing, and she met her mom, and it's just much better journalism than the Rolling Stone article written by a white man. So, anyway.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
I feel like I just wrote down pretty much everything.
Yeah,
anybody said?
Many.
I feel like I didn't have that many just because, like, so much of it was just the way they said things, like, not, like, the actual lines they were saying that was so memorable. Just, like, the way they bounced off each other.
Right.
I mean, they start fucking, it was gross. She says that a couple times.
Yeah.
And I fuck with Jesus now.
Oh my God, that was funny. Paige and Keo have a lot of chemistry together, which is really fun to see.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of BFF chemistry.
Right.
Just as an aside, like when they're in the hotel room and they're watching, it's like a movie of like a woman with a car in the mud or something.
Yes.
I was like, wow, this is like a different kind of
some kind of fetish,
some
right?
kind of fetish or something.
That was so bizarre.
Trying to get your car out of the mud, and it was very like sexual.
Yes, it was so strange.
Yeah, they were like scantily clad women whose like nice cars were stuck in the mud. Like were they both convertibles?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
It was like a whole video of that. I thought that was really funny, and that's like too specific to be not true.
Yeah,
you know, that's got to be some real shit.
I really like when they shoot the guy in the hotel room and they leave, and his friend is like, he's like got shot like in the neck or something, and his friend is like, "Are you okay, bro?" And I feel like that would be me. Like, I'm like, "You okay? Do you need some water?" Like, I don't feel like I would be good in a crisis. Call 911
when the band explodes. It's like, "You guys okay?"
No. Todd! You guys okay? Oh, somebody's gotta be in there. Oh, call 911! Call 911!
Call 911!
That is funny. For some reason, that is a hilarious gag.
Right.
Like, probably not
the
okay.
underreaction to something is very funny. You okay, bro?
I wrote down, I use too much teeth when I suck dick, sis. That's facts. I thought that was very funny. You can't see any room for improvement in this situation.
Right. I mean, you don't have to.
That's facts. And then I loved Derek. I wrote a lot of Derek stuff down.
Yes.
But then also Zola's reaction to him when he's like showing the viral videos, and then he's like, I'm gonna make a lot of money making movies like this, and then Stephanie's like, he's hilarious, and then Zola's like, I ain't seen him do no funny shit yet.
Yeah, he's amazing. Nicholas Braun, he's just so good at being naively like
a sweet dumb guy.
Yeah, dim-witted, and like he's just hilarious. Like he doesn't believe the other pimp is gonna turn on him, and he's like making him strip to his underwear, and like he's like, "This isn't you."
Yeah,
like they're friends.
I know,
like,
Derek.
Oh, I love the part where it's just Derek and Zola in the car, and he's like, "I'm just trying to distract myself," and he's like, "I love her. I give her a lung, not a heart, a kidney, whatever."
Right.
And Zola's like, "Were you homeschooled?"
At least he's smart enough to know you can't donate your heart without dying.
He's going through the list of organs he can spare.
Lung, not a heart, like a kidney.
I like when Stephanie walks out the bathroom in her schoolgirl outfit and she says, "You like?" and Zola goes, "No."
Yes, that was
That was really refreshing.
Yeah.
Like, nope, that's just straight up gross. I wrote down, who you gonna be tonight, Zola? She's like looking in the mirror. I forget even when this happened, but I just thought that was very meaningful. Looking in the mirror, deciding who you're gonna be tonight. And then I liked their special prayer about good credit, big dicks. And before in the strip club, I mean, we don't really see these women again, but just that, like, circle up, like the huddle before going out on stage.
She's feeling the spirit.
It was like the locker room, right? It's like a football locker room thing of like, let's pray to Jesus about this thing that, you know, he does. I just love anytime anyone's praying for dumb shit anyway, I guess. But special prayer, good credit, big dicks. Oh, and you know they filmed Miami Vice around here. You know that movie?
Oh my god, she's so young.
It was really cute the way she said that. You know that movie? I wrote money titties.
Money, titties, money, titties.
Oh, and when Stephanie first meets Zola, and she's like, your titties look like little apples. My titties look like apples.
Damn, bitch, you got perfect titties. I wish I had titties like that. They look just like little apples.
Thank you.
Derek and Stephanie, like, she clearly just doesn't respect him at all, but he's, like, so in love with her. And then at the end, he's, like, threatening to kill himself. I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself. And she's like, why do you have to be so extra? It's like, no, this guy's gonna jump out the window.
Right. Which apparently that did not happen.
Oh,
at all.
Didn't
He
happen
did threaten to
either?
kill himself like multiple times and was definitely bipolar. But in the Twitter thread, it says that he jumped and got like caught on the balcony. Mm-hmm. So he didn't fall, and in the movie he does fall and has severe head trauma, and his fate is pretty up in the air. But I mean, I guess it's like implied that he's fine because he's holding his head in the car, but it doesn't look great. Looks pretty
Does
bad.
not look so good, no.
Yeah. And that guy cannot spare any brain cells, seems like. But I think I did literally gasp when he went over the balcony, so I guess it's effective from a storytelling standpoint. Right. I liked that when the pimp gets mad, he has an accent. I thought that was
that
an
was
interesting
interesting.
detail, and also that's from the Twitter thread, and that's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like he was putting on an American accent, but when he was angry, he would be yelling in a strong African accent.
Oh, interesting.
The part where he makes everybody in the room say his name over and over really loud, I thought, like, wow. He's just so in control, reminding them he's the one in control.
He's good at being a scary dude.
Yeah, it was scary. And then, like, he gets mad at Zola, and the other pimp kidnaps her, and he's like, you're supposed to be looking out for her, and then Zola's like, who's looking out for me?
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the heart of the movie.
She's got to look out for herself, because no one's going to look out for her. What's also mind-blowing is that she was 19 years old.
Wow.
When all this went down.
Like, thanks.
You have a teenager, Annie Malone, like just thinking
I sure
about
do.
in a couple of years.
Right. Don't hop in a car to Florida with anyone.
I mean, maybe the main takeaway here is just don't go to Florida with anybody ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Stay away from Florida.
I love how in the very end she's like, I hate to break things up here, but my time here is coming to a close. And she's like,
she's trying to write herself out of the story.
Yeah, it's like, I need to get back to my life, and I'm just like, so amazed, like, how she was able to get through that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
know
what I wanted.
It was an action-packed weekend, and she didn't sleep at all.
Yeah.
Was like basically fearing for her life most of it, and it's crazy.
Yeah. It was so good though. I think I read the Nick set. She was in costume design, I think. So I don't know. I just thought I thought all of the outfits were really cool.
I like the makeup a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
The whole look of the film was so great. They did a really good job with
the
mise en scène. Are we ready for that lunchtime poll?
I mean, are you ready? Apparently I'm the only mark in this group.
First.
Okay.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
Our lunchtime poll question is, tell a story of a time when you got into a situation that was a little over your head that you didn't expect.
Yeah, someone else got you into a situation that wasn't what you thought it was going to be, I guess.
Thank you. That's
right?
Much better. I appreciate that.
Well, the thing is, I can think of so many off the top of my head, and these two have been sitting here like, I don't know if I can think of
Well, maybe you should tell 3 stories.
Oh my gosh, easily could. I'm a little bit torn which one to tell, but all right, so I'm going to tell the story. This is what made me think of it, is back early 90s. I had this friend, Jean. I lived in Tacoma and was going to college, but ended up making friends with like a bunch of kind of locals and then ended up like never going to school. But anyway, he and I became really good friends and ended up living together for a little bit, but we were never more than friends. So this group of people, it was like, were kind of questionable, but then he was like kind of deeper level questionable. But like when I met him, he was like mostly reformed. Like actually the day I met him, I was dating this guy and I went over to his house and Jean was there and he introduced me to Jean and he's like, this is my friend Jean. I haven't seen him for how long? He's like 181 days, you know, because he had just gotten out of jail. Right? So that was my introduction to my friend Jean. But anyway, when I was friends with him, like he was just sort of small time stuff. He was mostly like trying to be good. But the thing that he did was like sell drugs a little bit and
A little bit.
So
What a funny way to put that.
What? I don't know. That's, like he worked. He was trying. Like he worked construction. Like he was trying to live a life where he didn't spend time in jail. Yes, right. It was not very lucrative for him. So we often would get in situations where I feel like I was lucky that nothing bad ever happened to me because I am like such a narc. I mean, not a narc, but like that's a, like people are like, who is this girl who doesn't do drugs? I just remember being at a guy's place one time, a little bit, and this guy's like, oh, I'm cutting this all wrong, I guess. Why is she here? I just like spent a lot of time with questionable people at this time, but because I ended up such good friends with this guy John, who was sort of like a known bad guy, a couple times a thing that would happen is like a guy would be giving me kind of a hard time, like coming on really strong, and then I'd be like, oh, do you know Jean? Yeah, I know that guy. I'm like, I live with him. And it was like, okay. Yeah. But anyways, we were at Tower Lanes in Tacoma. It's a bowling alley that we used to hang out all the time. And he met these two guys who wanted to buy some crank from him, and he went into the bathroom with them, and the three of them like did some, and then he came out and he was like really mad. These were big guys, like real steroid body guys, you know, and he's like, they totally ripped me off. And then, you know, we're like, let's just go. But then they came back out and they're like, oh no, you can come to our house. We have money at home. Sorry, I just thought we had, you know. Right? They're like, you can come over. They're like giving us like step-by-step directions practically to their place, and they're two big guys, and they keep saying my name. They're like, okay, so you and Amy are coming over. You and Amy, you know, we'll see you later, Amy. I'm like, great. I know. So, I mean, I have one I can say. I was never going to go to this house. Never. I was not even considering going to this house. And they leave, and I was like, okay, so if you want, I can drop you off, you know, and he was just like, we're not going, like, no, I'm not going to their place. So I guess I didn't end up in the, I know, but I have, that's one, like, I have always thought about a little bit of, like, that could have been a really ugly situation.
Whew,
I know.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, everybody knows, don't go to a second location.
Drugs are involved. Or two giant guys who keep saying your name, you know, that your badass friend is afraid of. You know, that's the biggest thing is that this guy was like this known badass and he was afraid of them. So, yeah, I know. I mean, I turned out fine.
You were a different person then.
Well, whatever.
I never knew this. This is amazing. I love hearing this.
I have so many Tacoma stories. That's why, I mean, because I had such adventures in Tacoma, that's why it was such a funny, crazy, weird thing for me last year when I hooked up with Charming Charlie at Titlow Beach, just where some of this stuff went down.
Titlow Beach. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I always like to say Titlow Beach.
Yes. There's a lot of fun.
There's a lot of funny.
Yeah, like Tillicum too.
Tacoma Screw. Like, it's a real horny town.
I always laugh a little when I see that sign.
Right.
The Pet Boys. You can't beat our meats.
Yeah, Tacoma is so horny. My God.
Super horny.
Pet Boys. I thought that was an
fair.
auto place or.
Is it Pep? Maybe not Pep Boys. Who is it? Who is the Who Can't Beat Our Meats?
I don't know. It's not.
Somebody. Let me look that up.
Are you sure you want that in your search history?
Let's see what happens. I have safe search off.
I don't know what that means.
Tacoma Boys. That's what it was. Not Pet Boys. Tacoma Boys Market. Their slogan and their big sign outside said, "You can't beat our meats." And I drove past it a lot.
I feel like I maybe saw that sign on the way going to Laura's house or something.
Tacoma's a horny town. I mean, I certainly had some time there.
I got some action in Tacoma for sure.
I definitely made out with a real cute townie one time.
Oh, yeah? I probably knew him.
His name was Trent. Do you know Trent?
No, I don't know Trent.
From University Place?
Oh, gosh, no. People I was friends with were not from University Place.
Where's University Place? Is that for a neighborhood?
It's
or?
the
Yeah,
trust
it's a
fund part
neighborhood.
of town. I knew like 3 different trust fund punks from University Place.
It's like right by the water by Narrows Bridge, kind of.
Oh.
They're all skaters.
It's weird. I don't know why it's called University Place because it's not near the University of Puget Sound, at all.
It's not your any university. It's not your,
that's still
PLU.
right. Yeah, it's even farther from PLU.
Maybe it's because if you went to university, then you can afford to live here.
Maybe.
If you call it university.
I can use my multi-level marketing. I was in
if
that.
you want to.
I thought that I was going to make money selling leggings.
They prey on vulnerable people, and you were vulnerable at that time.
I was in a vulnerable time in my life, and I was shown these Facebook storefronts of private groups of people selling these leggings, and it looked like everything was going well, and we had this woman who was our quote-unquote mentor that we signed up under her. She was saying she was making all this money, but she had a lot of people in her team or whatever, but it's not really a team, and you're not getting any advice or mentorship or anything like that. You're literally just somebody that they're making money off of. And the company would tell the consultants, and she told us too, yeah, you should just keep posting all the fun things that you're doing and fun places that you're going so people can see how well you're doing. I mean, I never did that.
And also, you weren't doing well, right?
We weren't doing well at all, and it was just all just a big fucking lie. I thought, oh, this isn't Herbalife. None of the vitamins are going to go bad, and I'm going to be stuck with all of this. This is clothes. People need clothes, and we did have some cool customers, and they loved I did love wearing the leggings. They were fun, but it was just, that business is not... I don't know.
You can't make any money.
It was a big learning lesson.
It's a scam.
I felt really taken advantage of, too. It was a learning experience, but don't do multi-level marketing.
Yeah.
Do not
if
do
you're
it.
thinking about it,
Don't
contact
do it.
me, and I'll tell you my story.
Another PSA. This one's
Right.
Don't follow a drug dealer to a second location.
Which I did not
Don't,
do.
yeah. But, 'cause you do not to. Don't get involved in multi-level marketing, which means anytime anyone says you can make a lot of money doing this, they are fucking lying.
And it's really easy.
And it's
There's
easy.
not any work, hardly any work to
And
do.
the demand, I love that episode of Bob's Burgers where Lena gets involved in the essential oils, because when I was cleaning out my mom's house, fucking thousands of essential oils she had. I mean, she was into every MLM, which is maybe why I haven't ever done it, because I've known the signs for a long time. She was doing all kinds of powders and teas and so much essential oils. And let me tell you, at the estate sale, those essential oil bottles sold for $1 each. And I saw the receipts. She was paying $30, $40.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. These people...
Right.
It's just scum.
This
how they take advantage of people.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I did think of something.
Oh, yay!
Oh, good.
I was in between jobs, and I was really needing work. And so I took this job from a friend of mine who was I've been doing part-time work. This guy that basically runs a porn studio out of his house. Well, not the studio, but he I'm not even sure what capacity he was involved in at this point. But my friend was editing porn videos for him. And he's he needs a personal assistant. And it paid a bunch of money, and it was all under the table. I'm obviously not going to say anybody's name in this.
Right.
So I was that sounds good, I'll do that. I had to drive 40 minutes every day to this place, but it was such good pay. But then I walk into this house, every day I walk into this house, the whole thing smells so much like weed. And it was a big house. I mean, no judgment on the weed. That's just the first thing you notice. Every day when you walk in, it just smelled the whole house smelled like that all the time. And do you know how much weed you have to smoke to make your house smell like weed all the time? Because that smell dissipates pretty quickly. Turns out this guy's an agoraphobe, basically. And the things he wants me to do are go through his mail and tell him what's important. But he doesn't really give a shit what's important, because he has back taxes. He just has unopened envelopes for paying taxes. I was scanning STD tests from his performers and their IDs, and I was verifying that women were of age.
Oh wow.
I was taking jars of coins to the liquor store to buy handles of vodka for him.
Oh my god.
I was going to the grocery store with again change. What I would do, of course, was that I would go to the Coinstar, and then because I was like, I'm not gonna like walk up to the cashier with a jar full of coins.
Yeah.
No fucking way am I doing that. So it would take a little longer, but he wouldn't leave his house ever. He was like having me buy groceries. All he ate was steak and drank like Powerade. And he never eat like no vegetables, nothing.
I know. Like, how did he ever poop?
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like a movie.
So unhealthy.
I know.
His wife was a porn star. The whole thing was so fucking sketchy. And then eventually, like, he just stopped paying me because he would be like giving me IOUs. And it was the same. Like, I had just gotten out of a situation where I wasn't getting paid for work. So I was like, well, I'm not coming to work till he can pay me. And then at that point, he had owed me like $2,000.
Oh, wow.
Which he was paying me so much per hour to do his stuff that I had money saved up.
Right.
But I could have used that $2,000, and I was like, well, and now I'm out of a job again. I ended up trying to take him to small claims court. He was such a scammer because he was like, at the last minute, like literally an hour before our hearing, he's like, all right, I have an agreement for you. He sent me like pre-written checks. It was like a couple $100 at a time. He's like, cash one of these every week. And I started cashing them. Right. I called up the claim. That was the deal. I was like, fine, if you pay me back in installments, like that's what I wanted anyway. I started cashing the checks and they bounced. I call him, I cash the next check, it bounces. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to cash any more of these, obviously.
Right.
Then he stopped returning my calls. That was a whole fucking thing. Since I'd already dropped the claim, I couldn't get any more money out of it. I was like,
man.
God damn it, I guess I'm just out of this money.
Yeah.
It sucked.
And it was all cash. Like,
yeah, and the house that he owned, he bought at auction from a crack dealer.
Whoa!
Wow. Like it was like a crack house that he'd bought.
Wow.
At auction. So at one point in time, I think he was making a lot of money. I just happened to get to him when he was having a lot of problems. Like wasn't paying any taxes. He had so much important mail that I found because I went through this huge stack of mail. He was also kind of a hoarder. He had this massive house. A lot of the rooms were empty because he couldn't like afford furniture to fill the rooms, but because he bought the house at auction, he got this mansion for cheap basically. And I'd go through his like hoarder mail and I'd be like, all this stuff's pretty important. It's from the government. You gotta go through it. And he'd be like, okay, thanks for doing that. I'll get to it. And I'm like, I don't think you will.
Right.
How does he go on so many years like that and it's undetected? Like, I was thinking, like, oh, maybe the small claims court thing could trigger something else. And
it's kind of amazing because he wasn't doing things that were that illegal other than, like, not paying his taxes. And I think at the time, like, weed wasn't legal yet in Washington. But from my perspective, those are pretty small potatoes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if you want to keep doing this shit, you gotta pay your taxes. I don't know. It's funny that, like, there is a legit way to have a porn company, and I think that's great that you should be able to be an entrepreneur, but he was not in the right headspace for that. Like, he couldn't even leave his house. Oh, he couldn't drive? I had to drive him to the bank a bunch of times.
Ugh. That's weird.
He lived there out in the burbs and not be able to drive. And his wife couldn't drive either. Like, part of the... Weird. Like, that's why he was paying me so much, because I was doing all kinds of shit for him. Wow. But then when he didn't pay me, I'm not doing that anymore.
Why didn't he drive? Was he, like, really old or, like...
Well, he was stoned all the time.
Oh.
And B, he was stoned all the time because he had, like, severe anxiety and agoraphobia.
Oh.
So he only left the house when he absolutely had to, like, to go to the bank, because I could do everything else for him, but I couldn't go to the bank for him. And the whole time we would be driving around, he would be so paranoid.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Wow. It was terrible having him in my car.
Was he really uncomfortable to be around or, like, in the car with?
I mean, really, the only reason I was there is because, like, he's like, I'm paying you this much under the table.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, you overlook a lot of shit for a while when that's happening. But I guess now my lesson from that is, like, look for the fine print when someone offers you a lot of money under the table, because it might not be as sweet after a while.
Yeah.
Woo!
Wow. Well, you thought of one.
I did. I thought of one.
How very.
Oh my gosh, what a fun episode. One more thing to do here, which is...
Greetings and salutations.
We have done Michigan, where they start out, Detroit, we've done Florida, so I picked Georgia because one of the TV shows that Janixa Bravo directed was the Juneteenth episode of Atlanta.
Oh.
Which is a really great episode.
I love that
and I
show.
love that show. So let's shout out to Georgia.
Hey, Georgia.
Hello, Georgia.
I don't know anybody there.
You make good shows.
I don't think I've ever been there.
Yeah, lots of
I
good
went
shows
there once
there.
with the sketchy ex.
I grew up going there as a kid. I always liked going to the Coca-Cola Museum.
Oh, wow.
It's a big, like, Coca-Cola is based there.
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but my sister and I have our names on a brick in Centennial Park, like from the Olympics. You could donate money for the Olympics, Centennial Park or something, and
they needed donations.
I know. I hate that.
I don't know what.
Fuck off, Olympics.
I don't know what it was, but it wasn't like
I like
that
that
much
you have a
money,
brick,
but like you could have your name on it, and I've gone to the website. I don't know. One day I'll see it, maybe.
It's hot there.
It's very hot.
That's what they call it, Hotlanta.
Hotlanta.
Tyler Perry has like a huge movie studio there. It's like Hollywood. East Coast Hollywood.
It is
so
a bit.
many
I think they have
studios.
tax breaks and stuff. That's
Yeah.
a lot of shows filmed there now, not just Atlanta, but
Oh, and so many movies,
and movies
too.
Yeah,
They have all this space for sound stages.
Yeah, property's still cheap there. It's interesting how LA kind of has these little annexes around the country because it's so expensive to film in LA now.
Yeah.
But then they'll kind of burn through places. Like, I think they burned through, like, North Carolina a little bit.
Oh, really?
There was a while that in North Carolina they were shooting a lot of stuff, and they kind of wore out their welcome.
Oh, I remember when Dawson's Creek. Yeah, that was a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
They kind of ruined that
guy?
town. Kevin Williamson.
Yes, and he had those other movies, too.
Yeah.
Like, I Know What You Did Last Summer. And
He shot all that
something
stuff there.
else.
And
The Faculty, I think.
He was definitely the guy that started that. They ruined the town a little bit for the people that live there, but oh well.
That's Hollywood.
Yeah. On the next episode of Paid in Puke, we are opening the mysterious blue box that is David Lynch's 2001 film Mulholland Drive, starring Naomi Watts and Laura Elena Herring. If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to rate us highly on your preferred podcast listening apparatus. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, on Instagram at PaidInPukeSeattle, and on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it